Hey, Colin, first of all, welcome to Seattle. Second, I mean, you look at your numbers last year and over an 82 game season, you would have been on pace for a 21 goal campaign. What was it about last year that really took off for you? Were you able to unlock some things? And how much excitement does that give you knowing that you could play a really big role in a top nine, if not top six?
Yeah, I think last year was awesome for me, just finally getting that opportunity to play. I think when I was with Nashville in the previous years, there were just there was a logjam of players, and I just don't really think I really got that chance. And finally in New York, it took a little bit of time, and obviously I got some confidence not only from some key and high end players there, but also some of the coaching staff and management, and just being able to you go from playing 7 to 10 minutes a night and then playing a little bit more, getting a little bit more opportunity, gaining that trust, like I said, from your teammates and coaches and some other people in the organization. I think that goes a long way for individual players' confidence. And really, I just finally got that chance for the first time in my career to kind of show what I've always been capable of doing, and just was lucky enough to play a bunch of different roles where I could kind of slot up and down the lineup, and I played every single position, and just having that versatility allowed me a little bit more opportunity last year, and I think that was huge for me.
Jeff Baker.
Hi, Colin. Welcome to Seattle. You mentioned that versatility. I mean, when you look up and down this Kraken roster that they've assembled right now, there are a lot of flexible pieces there, and I'm wondering if the teams discuss with you, where they see you fitting in best. Is it center? Is it a wing position? If they just do that.
Yeah, no, we haven't quite talked about it yet, and for me, I'm up for anything. When last year I played majority on the wing. I played left wing and right wing, but I took some face-offs. I've always taken pride in that. I always start your shift with a face-off, a one-on-one battle, and that was something that I think my face-off percentage, that's something I can bring to a team. And then I at the World Championships this year in Latvia, after the season, I went a full year of playing left wing and right wing, and then I ended up playing center for the whole entire tournament out there. So it was the first time I had done that that season, but at the same time, it was something I was comfortable doing. So whatever the coaching staff, management needs or sees for me, that's something that I've been lucky enough where I've gotten the opportunity to kind of play up and down the lineup in many different positions and many different situations, and that's something that I also take pride in. So just being able to do that, like I said, it doesn't matter my role. I always accept whatever role is kind of given to me and kind of work my way up that way.
Thank you.
Tom Galiti.
Hey, Colin. Just what are your thoughts on joining a new, teams that's starting from scratch? And you look at the roster, and then even some of the guys they signed just a couple of days ago. Does it give you like a optimism that it's going to be a pretty good team right from the start?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the roster, and there's some familiar faces on there that I played with before, and I think everybody kind of has a little bit, same makeup. A lot of guys that have talked about just what a good group of character guys that is, and I can't tell you how far that goes in the game that we play, and bringing in a bunch of good guys and a lot of people too. We saw some guys that we signed in free agency, and then people that were picked in the draft, and maybe through some trades. The roster shaping up really well. We got a lot of guys that are kind of like myself that can play up and down the lineup. We got a good mix of some young, really good players, some people that are very hungry and maybe have only played 1 or 2 years under their belt, but have a lot of potential and can really turn into some really great players. And then we've been able to pick up some really veteran savvy players and guys that have been there, guys that have gone really far and done really well. And you have a great mix there, and it starts with goaltending, and goaltending that we got is really good, and I'm really excited about that. And I think the offense and defense is I think it's really balanced throughout the course of the lineup that I've seen in potential lineups. And so I think the roster's looking awesome. I'm extremely excited about it, and like I said, some familiar faces that I've played with before, and then also some people that I've played against that one of the best things you can say about somebody is how hard they are to play against, and there's definitely some names on that roster that that are tough to play against, that are now we're on the same team, that I'm pretty excited about. So that's always awesome. And coming into a new environment, I think everybody's in the same situation. It's going to be a learning curve and adjustment, but at the end of the day, for me individually, I guess, unfortunately, the last 3 years, it's been a new team after a new team, kind of, because I spent 2 years in Nashville, and then there was a coaching change there, so it was essentially a new team, almost new system type of thing, where I went from having Peter Laviolette to John Hines, and then I went over to a new organization in New York this past year, and so for me, nothing really changes, and I think that goes to for all the guys that are coming into the same situation. Everybody's really excited about it. I think we're going to rally around, the city and the fans, and kind of the excitement that the team is bringing to the city, and try to just do the best we can to immerse ourselves in the city of Seattle, and kind of grow with it.
Andy,
Hey, Colin, welcome to Seattle. I'm curious, were you surprised to see that you were unprotected? And with it being an expansion year, how much of that was on everybody's mind? Like, was that something you guys talked about in the room? Like, I could be the guy, you could be the guy. How did that play out during the season?
Yeah, like, I mean, to be honest, I've seen so many things in this line of business. At the end of the day, it's a business, and I'm not surprised with some of the stuff that I see nowadays anyway. So for me, I thought it could have gone either way, and they decided to leave me unprotected, and their loss is Seattle's gain, is kind of the way I look at it. And for me, it's just an incredible opportunity, and I'm extremely excited about it. And I think it's not only a great opportunity on the ice, but off the ice, and then be a part of something special, inaugural season. I just think that there's so many good takes that you can take away from it, and I can't wait to get out there and get started. And then even just the city of Seattle itself, I've never been out there, but I've only heard great things. I have a cousin that lives out there and plays in the National Women's Soccer League it was the Seattle Reign. Now they're out in Tacoma now, but so we got a little bit of a family affair out there. So from those two situations, I couldn't be more excited about it. And then, the season was definitely interesting for everybody all the way across the board. And I think maybe it was in the back of my mind that it could have possibly be happened, but there were so much things that were going on throughout the course of the season, a lot of ups and downs, especially in New York, and with the COVID era, and a lot of things that were going on. So to be honest with you, I didn't really think about it too much. And I think a lot of people there were kind of more focused on, the present, and then kind of worrying about, expansion draft stuff, maybe at the deadline, or maybe in the summertime.
Darren Brown.
Hey, Colin, you've had some interesting stops along the way here. Obviously, you played for Nashville, played for New York. I'm curious what, from those experiences, what you're going to take away and bring to your role here in Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing for me is being on a couple different teams. I've been able to, that adjustment to, meet new teammates, meet new players on the team, kind of getting that chemistry and camaraderie with them, getting a feel for, I like to say that I kind of played to the skill set of some of my line mates maybe. And it's kind of one of those things. It's always an adjustment when you join a new team. So from that standpoint, I've got a good experience of, adjusting to some new teammates here and there, and then also coaching staffs. It's new system. It's kind of new everything. But the cool thing about coming to an expansion team like that here in Seattle is it's a clean slate for everyone. So it's really exciting. And I think, just for me, the two main things that I try to take away is quickly getting some good chemistry and camaraderie, and comfortable with a lot of your teammates, and then also just kind of learning new systems, coaching staff, city. It's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be an adjustment. It's going to be interesting, and there might be some growing pains, just getting adjusted from all the way moving to Seattle, just everything along those lines. But I'm lucky that I have some of those experiences under my belt, and hopefully I can use that and help anybody else that maybe have played for the same organization their whole entire life. So it's not only a new experience, but it's something that they're not necessarily accustomed to. So I think I can kind of bring that wisdom and maybe some leadership in the room for maybe some younger guys or other people that might be struggling with it.
Thank you.
Bob Condor. Hey, Bob, I think you're on mute there.
Hey, Colin, Bob Condor from the Kraken. Welcome. Look forward to seeing you in person soon. Back to the familiar faces. Who are some of the players you have played with, and then who are some of the ones that you mentioned are hard to play against?
Yeah, I mean, there's a hilarious video from I think the bubble when the playoffs. Jamie Alexiak, like I think he's got a foot and 150 pounds on me, but I tried to blow him up, and I basically went into the basically put me into the third row. So, guys like that, I look at our decor. Mark Giordano is obviously somebody that, he's been so good for so long. And I think he's going to be great for our locker room. And then Yanni Gord is somebody that rings a bell. He's just so hard to play against. Callie Yarncrook I played with in Nashville, and talk about utility, man. He's able to do kind of everything. And I think that's a lot of our makeup for our team is a lot of guys that, can help the team in many different ways. And I think that's extremely exciting. So I think we got a lot of people that are really hard to play against. And I think for an expansion team, just, a handful of misfits, essentially. A lot of, maybe guys can take a look at it as, their teams didn't want them, and kind of having that chip on their shoulder coming into the season. And I think that's really exciting, and it goes a long way as well.
Thanks.
Erica Ayala.
Thanks for your time today, Colin. And forgive my ignorance, but can you tell me who your cousin is that plays for OL Reign right now?
Yeah, her name is Kristen McNabb.
Oh yeah, for sure. Awesome. Very cool. I come from the women's sports space,
no
so
way.
had to ask that for sure. But back to you. It's your moment. If you can talk a little bit about, you just hit on, kind of being a group of misfits, but we've kind of seen that storyline before. Do you think there's anything different or unique to Seattle coming in as a franchise this upcoming NHL season?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely unique. I mean, I think for a lot, I think one thing that just kind of sticks out to me out of that question is, the different divisions. I found so far, since I've been in a couple different teams, different divisions, I find play a little bit different style of hockey. I find that the Western Conference is a little bit heavier than the Eastern Conference. I found that the Eastern Conference is a little bit more, I feel like some of the teams play a little bit different style of hockey, skill games. And I think the teams in the Pacific, they typically play a little bit heavier style. And that's kind of a Western Conference game. And I found that just from our roster in general, we got a great mix of guys that play heavy, like some of the names that I mentioned beforehand. Then we have some grit, a lot of skill. I played against Jordan Eberle a handful of times this past year, and he's a name that sticks out to me. And then some of the signings that we have, but we have a bunch of two-way players, I think is something that's really exciting too. So I think from a hockey standpoint, we're gonna have a heck of a team, and it's really exciting, not only for us as players, but hopefully the city as well. I've heard that the fan base is pretty wild, and it's just going to be awesome, exciting time. And like one of the previous questions, just transitioning for a lot of people, players and families, just out to Seattle and kind of getting out there. And I think the quicker maybe some of us get out together and kind of can build that chemistry and camaraderie, like I mentioned, I think it's going to go a long way. I think one thing is, we're going to learn very quickly and learn very, very fast. It's going to be a fast process. So like I said, just from that standpoint, it's definitely something that's interesting, because you might go to a new team like I have in the past, and there's a core group of guys that have been there for several years, and we don't necessarily have that. So we got to gel together very quickly, and I think we're gonna definitely be able to do that. And because everything that I've heard is great character guys, and I think overall, I think when you have something like that and a good blueprint and some veteran guys and a great mix of talent, from offense, defense, goalies, and veteran young guys, I like what we have, and I think it's going to be a great transition.
Ryan Clark.
Hey, Colin, you've talked a lot about the excitement of this roster and everything that comes with it. How exciting is it to know that you have all that, but this is still a team that has a little bit more than 16 million in cap space and can do more, especially at a time when not everybody has that luxury?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think you got to love what the roster is right now. And I think that's, you look at it and it's so balanced in the fact that there is that much room and cap space just means that, there can be some moving pieces here and there. And obviously that's way out of my control. That's obviously management and stuff along those lines. But obviously the off season just kind of started, and there's a lot of stuff and moving pieces that can still happen. And I think just having that luxury goes such a long way. And that's clearly one of the ways they kind of built their roster. And, I think that's exciting too, like you said, and just to add on to some of the great guys and talents and character that we have already. I think that's something that, you can only go up from there.
And real quick, how did you find out? Was it one of those things where Rangers management was able to tell you, your agent, or did you find out on social that you were coming here?
No, obviously I try not to, I stay away from that stuff. I try not to dive into it too much, but because so many things change and everything along those lines. But I had a good relationship with Chris Drury over in New York. And I know that, we had talked about, he had let me know that, unfortunately they weren't gonna, or unfortunately for him, that they weren't gonna protect me. And basically that was one conversation. And then a conversation, it was basically the morning of the draft. He had called me and just let me know that, Seattle had contacted them, that I was going to be the player that they were going to pick. And then shortly after, I got a chance to connect with Jason Bottrell and Ron Francis and kind of talk with Hack too, and just kind of introduce ourselves to one another in quick conversation. So I was able to kind of figure it out that morning. And then obviously everything kind of happened at night, and there's some stuff that, leaked throughout the day. But I was lucky that I was able to kind of have that communication on the back end and not kind of find out via social media that maybe some guys do.
Time for two more here. Let's go with Darren Brown.
Hey, Colin, you talked a lot about familiar faces on the roster. The World Championship, did you play with Matty Beniers? And if so, what were your impressions of him as a very young player in that tournament?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I got to play on a line with him a handful of times. He's a great kid, and that's the best part about him, because not only is he such a good hockey player and he's got such a bright future and will hopefully be the cornerstone of the organization for a long time to come, but he's honestly just such a good kid. And I think that just makes it even better. And Seattle got not only a great player, but a great person. And that's one of the most exciting things, is I can't say enough good things about him. And I was, we were there for over 3 weeks, close to a month. So sat next to him in the locker room and was able to, we come from Massachusetts, both of us. I'm from the North Shore of Massachusetts, and he's from the South Shore. So we never really ran into each other. In the hockey circuits, he's about 10 years younger than me. So when I see a guy with that much skill and I got 10 years on him, it's scary to think about some of the development that they have and, his hockey sense. So, I can't say enough good things about how good he is as a player, but I can't stress enough how good he is as a kid. And I think coming into that just adds into the character group of guys that I had mentioned beforehand. And what a great pickup by Seattle. And I couldn't be more excited for him, and hopefully getting a chance to play with him again.
All right, let's wrap things up here with Bob Condor.
Hey, Colin, one more. The idea of going from 7 to 10 minutes to 15 to 18 minutes of ice time, is obvious that you'd have more chances, but what does those extra shifts do for you in terms of just your mindset and what you can accomplish out on the ice?
Yeah, I think it's huge. And I think that's kind of what you saw with the last expansion draft with a lot of guys that went to Vegas. Is a lot of guys might have been playing those minutes like you had just mentioned, and then they were just able to get a little bit more responsibility, whether it's, a few more shifts 5-on-5 or in special teams. And I think for me, it's just a matter of, it's not, I wouldn't say it's necessarily tough to produce when you're playing little minutes, because your role kind of changes. But I feel like when you play a little bit more, I think that's one thing that I take pride in, is kind of penalty kill. And hopefully I got a little bit more of a chance to do that in New York. And that was really exciting. But also when you're playing some more 5-on-5 minutes outside of special teams, it just allows you to be a little bit more engaged. Instead of playing, 2-3 shifts a period, you're playing 4, 5, 6, and you're kind of a little bit more into the game, a little bit better feel. And I think that just goes to responsibility. There might be, different situations where maybe you're starting, face-offs in the offensive zone, or if you're a more offensive side player, then, maybe you're getting more offensive opportunity in the offensive zone face-offs, and just generating a little bit of opportunity that way. I just think when players are able to kind of get that extra rope, extra leash, really good things can happen. I think confidence is a dangerous thing. And I think when you're playing a little bit more, that means not only your teammates and players, but maybe the coaching staff and the organization has a little bit more confidence in you as well. And I just think that goes a long way. And I think when you look at our roster, it's just it can be a very dangerous thing when, in a good way, when a lot of players get confidence and come in here. And I think that's what's really exciting about it, because I think the sky's the limit for our group.
Awesome. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Colin. Appreciate the time, and thanks everyone for joining. Again, welcome to Seattle. We're happy to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Take care, everyone.